Have you ever heard of a CEO labor strike? I haven't. I tried asking ChatGPT this question. I tried looking it up online. It doesn't turn up anything. Why? We always hear about CEOs having the real burden of a company. You know, they're the ones taking the real risks. They have a lot of responsibility. Except when I think about it, the responsibility is always on the employees in the sense that imagine you're an employee at a company. Oftentimes, the reality is most employees, if they lose their job, if they lose it, they lose their homes. They lose a real substantive part of their income. They don't have any more income. If they lose their job, they lose something. If a CEO loses their job in 99.9% of cases, it literally doesn't matter. They're not going to lose their home. They're already rich. They're not going to be able to lack any food. They're already rich. You know what I mean? So it's really weird that we think of CEOs as like the big good guys that take all the risks in companies when that's arguably the job where you're the most safe. I mean, again, even if you get fired, nothing happens to you. So then I'm gonna ask you again, have you ever heard of a CEO labor strike? And no, but why? Why have we never heard of a CEO labor strike? I mean, if they're the ones that take all the risks and everything, and there has to be some injustice that's been done to them at some point. The reason is no. The reason is in a company, the people that take the most risks is the employees. And that's just that, it's not the CEOs. The CEOs have, like, they're the front facing person. They're gonna go on all the TV shows and stuff, or all the talk shows, but most of the time, they're they already have the capital and they already have the money to be able to take on a job like this, get fired, and not have any real risks. So the video I'm going to recommend today is the Some More News video on wage theft. If you don't know, Some More News is like a news type show that's like 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes over an hour, that's published every week on YouTube, and they tackle different subjects. And here they tackle wage theft. Because for a while in the US, like 2 years ago, I think, we heard about how like theft in Walmarts and stuff was causing the stores to close down. And that was a lie. I'm gonna put the links in the description, but basically, like, it was like the CEO of Walmart, I don't know, some executive, some really top dog in like a retail store, a company that basically flat out admitted, like, we exaggerated how much theft affects our bottom line. Like, they really exaggerated and they kind of played it up to generate a national outrage for something that wasn't a problem. What's it called when you just steal something in the store? I forget. But basically, they're admitting now that they exaggerated the problem because it's causing some issues. The fact that they actually over exaggerated it. It's not a problem. It's never been a problem. And the real problem in retail stores is wage theft. It's the money the employees are not being paid. And for some reason, people don't think of that as a problem. You know what I mean? Like, we don't think of wage theft as being real theft. It's like, ah, well, it's like, at least the companies are providing jobs. But, like, think about it. Why should we allow a company to exist if it can't pay a living wage? Like, actually think about it. Because the point of society is to elevate our living conditions. And if you think no, if you think, oh no, it's about survival of the fittest, you haven't thought about it that well. The reason you're still alive is not because you're the strongest, it's because we live in a society, Joker, whatever. It's because we live in a society. Like, medicine is not natural. Medicine is not survival of the fittest. The structures we have in place to build roads, to be able to take your lazy ass to like whatever places, cars, all of that's not natural, you know? So like let's stop like trying to pretend that there's somehow the law of the fittest. If the law of the fittest was right, most people in first world countries would not be alive right now, okay? Like at all. But because we live in a society, we benefit from certain things, and I don't know why we can't extrapolate this to businesses, in the sense that businesses exist to make our life easier and to benefit our society. So at some point, if a business does not pay taxes, I would argue it ceases to it gives up its right to exist. It gives up its utility argument because it doesn't uh, make us benefit of the value that it extracts. And if it doesn't pay taxes, but on top of this, it doesn't pay its employees, like think about it. The employees are the real people who produce the labor. How we can see that is when you have a strike, everybody freaks out and the economy takes a hit. There was the writer's strike in 2023. It set back a lot of dates for shows and movies. A lot of shows and movies got delayed, really delayed. When you have the automobile worker strike, they struck a deal really quickly, even though the leader of that strike was saying really hostile things towards like CEOs, because when the workers stop working, the economy can't function. Why have you never heard of a CEO strike? Because they don't do anything. I'm exaggerating, obviously, for like to be more poignant. But it really doesn't matter who's the CEO. Like it does matter who's the worker because they do the actual work. And if you put someone as a worker who is less efficient, you're gonna have less of an output. But if you put a like that's why CEOs get fired and rehired all the time. That's not a good example because that's also the case for employees. But what I mean is like you've never heard of a CEO labor strike because no one would care. Another CEO would get hired again, except when the workers strike, the work doesn't get done. And if you want to rehire someone, well, it's more complicated than that. But in a lot of cases, you need to train them and you need to spend money, and that takes effort. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, think about how you think of businesses. We don't think of them as something that should make our life easier because businesses are viewed as a burden on our lives. It's the thing we eventually have to work in, even if we don't like the work that we do. It's something that's gonna exist whether or not we work there or whether or not it's useful to us, and it benefits our society. But businesses are just here to make our life easier or to bring something to the table. And if a business cannot pay its employees a living wage, it should not exist. Wage theft is a real theft. And if it's done, executives in those companies should get arrested, as happens for real theft. Um, but can you imagine in your mind what it would look like if wage theft was persecuted like other theft is? Can you imagine CEOs in handcuffs in your mind? Can you imagine it? No, to you that would seem ridiculous. Why? Why? Why is a single mom who steals diapers for her kids because she can't afford to buy diapers, so she steals them in a store? Why can we imagine this woman who's desperate to just get her kid diapers? Why can't we imagine her in handcuffs in the back of a police car because she stole a few diapers? But why can't we imagine a CEO in handcuffs because they stole $50 billion off of their employees in total in the last year? Yeah, 50 billion. That's the number of money that was stolen from wage theft. And I imagine you're like, well, 50 billion, but that's like imagined money because, like, no, there's like minimum wages in states. There's like laws for how much you need to pay. That's real theft. Okay, so go watch the video. It's really good. I'll see you later.